Good evening and welcome. Tonight, we will be continuing our read through of this book, History of the World, Map by Map. If you are new to this channel, welcome. My gimmick for this book is that unlike any other readings that I do on my channel, I go into this totally blind. All I do is just read the title of each map to try to make a theme, and that's all that I read. I don't know the details of the maps that we're going to get into today. I don't even know what I'm going to title this video yet. I'm guessing something to do with like maps of industry. I'm not sure. I don't know yet until I read it. So you know already, but I don't. So, and these are much more laid back than my usual videos because it's completely unscripted. You're getting me raw and unfiltered, talking about facts and probably getting things wrong and then realizing I'm wrong and correcting myself and leaving it in the video because normally that's stuff that I cut out. But I try to keep this as real as possible because you guys seem to like it for some reason. I don't know why. So let's get into these maps tonight. So yes, we have industrialized Europe. We've hit a significant mark in this book, you guys. We've got to this chapter called Progress and Empire. And it looks like it's 1850 to 1914. So big changes in the world happening. Let's find out about them. The first box is over here. It says iron, coal, and oil. 1850 to 1914, just like it said on the first page. Vast quantities of lignite and coal were used in the smelting of iron ore and in foundries that made cast and wrought iron. These were used in the railways that linked the industrialized cities, carrying their factories as products to ports where iron ships waited to transport them worldwide. Commercial oil extraction began in the late 19th century, but oil remained in the shadow of coal until the rise of the automobile. So let's see. Did anyone, like when you're in elementary school first learning geography, have to do maps like this where you had a key and it'd be like circle all of the lignite or coals and you'd have to go through and go, let's see, right here, right here, right here, right here. Fond memories, but you can see it's all over the place. We've got iron ores, these bars you can see up here in Sweden, in Spain down here, or else. Where's like the iron mountains? It looks like lignite and coal up here. I thought that these mountains in Czechia were like super irony, but maybe they were coaly. Maybe right here. We've got iron smelting as the factories. You can see right here. Up here, of course. Where else? There's got to be more right here. And then oil is the little drops. Oil extraction. And of course, over here in the Caucasus, lots of oil. We've got some stuff up here as well. Look at some iron. Other symbols that we don't know yet, so we'll get to it. There's more lignite over here near Moscow. Yeah, I want to see what all these other symbols mean. There's also little dotted lines that are the main railways as of 1914, so you can see crisscrossing all of Europe. Like it'd take too long to point them all out. All the major railways. Growth of industrial cities 1850 to 1914. Changes in agriculture had a direct impact on the growth of cities in the 19th century. Inventions such as the threshing machine and the increasing use of fertilizers, including mineral potash, helped to free huge numbers of agricultural workers for work in Europe's cities. Once there, they were exploited as cheap labor and often faced cramped and unsanitary living conditions, in which outbreaks of cholera and dysentery were common. So yeah, city populations are noted by these dots. The over 50,000 by 1850 is red, like London. This kind of pinkish is over 50,000 by 1890. Where's an example of that? Pinkish, pinkish, pinkish. Pinkish, pinkish, pinkish. I'm seeing lots of yellows, but we're getting to that. Where's a pinkish one? Do you see a pinkish one? Do you at home? I still don't see any. Oh, here we go. Dublin. Dublin's one. By 1914, over 50,000 is green, like there's Madrid. That was easy. Vienna. And then under 50,000 by 1914 is yellow. Like Bilbao's right there. Sarajevo, I see. Hamburg. Malmö, Copenhagen, etc., etc. Moscow's red. What's up there? What's the city? Oh, St. Petersburg is red. Belfast and Edinburgh are yellow. Calais, Dover. Bunch down here in France. It's Italy. Oh, Rome is pinkish. There we go. Rome is pinkish. Got another one. All right, let's see the next box. Southern Europe left behind, 1850-1914. Politics, geology, and poverty conspired against... Hold on, let me get closer to the mic. Oh, but it's hard to read. Okay. Conspired against Southern Europe in the 19th century. In Spain, progress in the mining and steel industries was hampered by the country's dependence on subsistence farming and cultural pressures against entrepreneurship. A lack of iron and coal made industrialization hard in Italy. Only the advent of hydroelectric power late in the century brought much progress, and then only in the north. Just take the word for it, there's nothing on the map. Makes sense, though. Then we have the rise of Germany, 1870 to 1914. Germany, hold on, I'm going to move it up like this so I can do it easier. Germany made rapid progress following unification in 1871. Chancellor Bismarck's economic policies created a secure environment for investment, and the country benefited from the settlement from France after the Franco-Prussian War. Plentiful coal from the Ruhr Valley helped to fuel the developing steel, chemical, and electrical industries. And then one more box about the Russian Empire. I'm going to lift this up to 1880 to 1914. Only after the emancipation of the serfs in 1861 was Russia able to produce enough food to sustain an industrial workforce. Isn't that crazy that they had serfs in the 1860s? If you don't know what a serf is, it's like an indentured servant, but with far less rights. It was basically slave labor. 1861, insane. Work started on the Trans-Siberian Railway in the 1890s, and foreign investment funded factories in St. Petersburg, Moscow, and the Donbass region. By 1900, Russia was the world's fourth largest steel producer. So yeah, all these other things are up in the key here. So we see cotton, linen, wool, silk, machinery, and shipbuilding is this little symbol. That's a boat. It's pretty cool. Makes sense that they're all along the water then. But yeah, industrial areas are the orange ones. Agriculture, the light green. So you can see all the industrial zones throughout Britain there. Here in like very northern Spain, near Barcelona. All throughout Belgium there. Germany. What's this? Oh, mountains. Mountains. It's right there because that's the Alps. Lots of industrialized zones all throughout. There's the Donbass region they're talking about. Mountains. Oh, all the little boxes. All the little things here. Let's see. 1845. Engels's The Condition of the Working Class is published in England. Important book. 1871. Krupp becomes the armaments manufacturer for the German Empire. In 1889, the Eiffel Tower was completed. 1878, the internal combustion engines pioneered by Nicolaas Otto. They're in the Netherlands. What's that symbol mean? Oh, that's machinery. That makes sense. I got some over here. It says January 1905. Moscow is crippled by strikers protesting the working and living conditions and the lack of political reform in Russia. Wasn't that when, like, the Tsar put that down really violently, and that was, like, the beginning of the end? I think so. 1905 sounds right. But I wasn't sure if it was in Moscow. I thought it was St. Petersburg, but maybe not. I could be wrong. 1869, Donetsk Company is founded by British businessman John Hughes, who builds steelworks and several collieries in the region. And then down here in Baku, which is a yellow dot, remember yellow's under 50,000, in the 1890s, it says Brannobel. Brannobel set up in Azerbaijan, becomes one of the largest oil producers in the world, and still is a big oil producer to this day. I think I got all of them. It's a pretty neat map. Again, it just reminds me of like elementary school when you're learning like how to find symbols on a map. It's one of those. It's like literally the kind of map they would give you, a map of like industry and agriculture. Look at this. Hold on. What is this? I guess it's on a more global scale here because you can see Asia, Australia, and North America on this map. A bit of South America right there. That's kind of cool. And a little bit of Africa down in South Africa. A big old picture here talking about socialism. Dreaded socialism. No, that's about socialism and anarchism. So I'm sure this is more about anarchy, right? There's President McKinley getting shot as well. The rise, like people are like, wait, we can just do something. If you know what I mean. Transport and communications. Let's see what this map's all about. Looks really fun. Canal construction. Oh, this book's so heavy. Canal construction, 1825 to 1914. The Industrial Revolution fueled a boom in canal building that created thousands of miles of new inland waterways and dramatically reduced journey times along the world's trade routes. The Panama and Suez canals were impressive feats of engineering, but costly. Over 5,000 workers died constructing the $375 million Panama Canal, and 120,000 died building the $100 million Suez Canal. So we can see the canals by these symbols, and of course we have Panama. We have, that must be the Erie Canal. We've got canals, of course, up in, looks like Copenhagen, up in the UK, and then, of course, the Suez Canal. I wonder, like, if you said name a famous canal, which one would you say first, Panama or Suez? Because for me, when I think canal, I automatically think Panama. How about you guys? Do you think Suez first or Panama, or a different one? The electric telegraph, 1844 to 1914. The electric telegraph allowed messages to travel hundreds of miles. Undersea telegraph cables revolutionized global communication. The first, laid across the Atlantic, cut the time for a message from Europe to reach the U.S. from days to hours. Poor reception on the first cable meant that messages were transmitted at 0.1 words a minute. Undersea cables soon connected the world. So these green solid lines are underwater telegraph cables, so we can see them connecting London, looks like Glasgow there, to New York, maybe Boston too. Heading down from Spain, all along the coast here in South America, and all along the coast here. Well, look at those connecting the entire coast area, and the African coast as well. Yeah, across the Mediterranean. I don't see any others, so it was just like this section of the world, all connected. Conakry, Luanda, Cape Town, Montevideo, Bahia, Para, the Para region, or Belia. Neat. I didn't realize, I only really thought it was just here. I didn't realize they got the whole southern hemisphere involved. Oh no, there's some over here. Look at connecting Indonesia to Broome and Darwin in Australia. We got some in China, connecting Vladivostok to Shanghai. That's really cool. I didn't know that. That's really neat. Number 3 says mass transit in the cities, 1863 to 1914. In January 1863, London became the first city to run trains underground. The network transported 38,000 passengers on its first day alone, and its success prompted other cities to develop their own. The underground trains boosted the economy by introducing a more efficient way to transport increasing numbers of workers across the cities. So let's look at all of the train systems at this time. We can see Boston, New York, and Washington. Buenos Aires way down here. Of course, London. Looks like Glasgow. Paris, of course, the Paris Metro. We've got, I'm guessing that must be Copenhagen. And then we've got, what's that, Prague or Budapest? Berlin, I guess. Berlin. Rome. What is that? What is this supposed to be? Somewhere in Italy? I'm not sure. Moving on. The advent of ocean-going steamships. 1830 to 1914. I can get close to the mic for this one. Steamships crossed the Atlantic from the early 1830s. Improvements to ships and their engines in the middle of the century increased the distances they could travel before recoaling, reducing journey times. Steamships were larger and could carry more cargo and passengers, making long-distance trade far more profitable. Yeah, let me know, because I'm a little farther from the mic than I'd like to be right now. So let me know if it sounds okay. I'm sure it's fine. I'm just freaking out. So North Atlantic shipping routes are these dotted pink lines, and other routes are these dotted purple lines. So North Atlantic shipping routes, of course, that's looks like Paris to New York, and maybe Philadelphia. Is there any other pink ones? I think it was just the North Atlantic, right? So the other shipping routes you can see are going all over the place. Going down here to Cuba, heading down to Cape Town, even going around Cape Horn and shooting out that way to head to Tokyo and Auckland and Hong Kong, Shanghai, Singapore, over up to Aden, Calcutta at the time, all along the African coast. On this side, like there's Lawrence Marquez and Durban, all over the place. Yeah, the world was really connected for the first time ever, wasn't it? Technology and export, 1876 to 1914. New refrigerated ships and the spread of railways opened up new export markets. Cattle raised in America or Australia and New Zealand were sent by train to processing plants on the coast, from which ships carried the meat around the world. Refrigerators also boosted fruit exports, giving rise to the banana republics of Central America. All right, we've got those elementary school symbols again we have to find. So rail networks, you can see crisscrossing the United States there, surely in Europe. It looks like there's this Trans-Siberian Railroad, Moscow to Vladivostok. India, of course, famous for all of the railroads. So we've got fruit. So fruit, of course, Central America. That's where the term Banana Republic comes from. They're in the Caribbean. Looks like here in Liberia and Nigeria. Lamb and mutton. We gotta head down here to New Zealand and Australia, of course. Tea. So we gotta head up to India. There's tea there. Tea in China. Mombasa's got some tea. Although I'm sure it was more like coffee in Mombasa, wasn't it? Then beef cattle. So we've got America there. And South America, of course. And Brazil and Uruguay and Argentina. Chile. And that's it. Looks like the major markets are over there. Neat. I like these maps. I like these maps because they're not sad. Like, they're not about depressing wars. I don't know what the next one's going to be, but I think the next one's about immigration. So we'll see how sad that one is. This one's just interesting. 1858, first transatlantic telegraph cable. Say that 10 times fast. Telegraph cable, telegraph cable. Laid between Ireland and Newfoundland. Oh, I see. Ireland. I guess. I see. I said Glasgow right there. I thought it was pointing at Glasgow, but it's pointing at Ireland to Newfoundland. You can't see. Ireland to Newfoundland. 1866, the SS Great Eastern steamship lays a second, more reliable cable. Wait, this is the second more reliable cable? I guess this was this one. It's the first one. This is the second one. To Newfoundland. That's going to New York. I'm so confused. Oh well. Next it says August 1858, Queen Victoria sends first transatlantic telegraph message to President Buchanan. It takes 17 hours to arrive. 1907, Mauritania sets new record by crossing the Atlantic in 4.5 days. 1825, the Erie Canal links New York and the Atlantic coast to the Great Lakes. And in 1901, the United States' first underground railway opens there in, I guess, Boston, it says. 1914, Panama Canal completed, the fastest route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. 1876, first successful export of refrigerated meat from Argentina. In 1913, Buenos Aires is what? It's something in Portuguese. Subte? Oh, it's the name of the underground. It becomes the first underground system in Latin America. All right, Argentinians, how do you pronounce that? Subte? I guess short for subterranean. The subte, that's the name of the subway in Buenos Aires. I've never thought about that. What are all of you guys' underground trains called? In San Francisco, it's called the BART, the Bay Area Rapid Transit, the BART. Up here, 1844, Samuel Morse sends first electric telegraph message in the U.S. Over here, it looks like Manchester. It says 1895, Manchester Ship Canal. Oh, that's that canal, Manchester Ship Canal. Links Manchester to the Irish Sea and makes the city one of Britain's busiest ports. In 1863, the first underground train system opens in London. I know that's just called the London Underground. 1895, the Kiel Canal? Is that how you pronounce that? Kiel Canal links the North Sea to the Baltic Sea, saving a 288-mile journey around Jutland, or Jutland as we say in English, right there. 1896, the continental Europe's first underground system opens in Budapest. Yes. 1900, the Paris Metro's first line opens less than 2 years after construction began. 1869, steamships gain a competitive edge from the faster route offered by the Suez Canal, which is not open to sailing ships. I don't think it is today, isn't it? You can't just go through the Suez Canal. What's it say over here in China? 1866, the steamship Agamemnon successfully sails from London to China with only one stop. Wow, substantially outpacing sailing ships on the route. In 1870, cables between Singapore and Darwin in North Australia complete a telegraphic link between Britain and its, what's that say, farthest dominions. And then down here it says 1860. There we go, 1860. Refrigerated beef and mutton is successfully shipped 15,000 miles from Australia to London. And in 1879, the Dunedin successfully transports the first full cargo of refrigerated meat from New Zealand to London. Yeah, first time the world was truly linked together. It's something to think about, because now we take it all for granted, don't we? We can send a text in a second. Social media, YouTube, I reach audiences I never thought I would on this channel. It's pretty cool. I guess I should say, let me know where you're watching this from. What city or country or state or province, wherever you are. Let me know. Let's see how connected we are in my little community. That's always fun to see. mass migration. So yeah, let's talk about immigration during this time, starting with the American Dream. 1800 to 1914. Over 50 million migrants traveled to North America in the 19th century, the majority of them to the United States, as wave after wave left their homes for the economic opportunities and political and religious freedom offered by the land of the free. They initially came from Northern Europe, Germany, Scandinavia, Britain, and Ireland. But from 1880, migrants from Southern Europe, particularly Italy, began to arrive in large numbers. That's so true. And my ancestors came before the United States was even made, so I don't have any cool Ellis Island relatives that I know of. I don't know, maybe, but all the records I found were from like the 1700s. I wish I had cool Ellis Island stories, but oh well. I think my brother-in-law does because his family's Italian. But we've never looked that up. We should do that at some point. Indentured labor. Oh no. Now we get sad stuff. 1833 to 1920. Between 1833 and 1920, millions of Indians traveled to various European colonies as indentured laborers, employed for 3 to 5 years for the price of their passage and a small wage. Between about 1852 and 1900, at least 2.3 million Chinese also immigrated on a similar basis to North America, Australia, New Zealand, and Southeast Asia, where they often undertook the hard labor of building railways and mining. Very true also. Gold fever. So we've got 1849, 1851, 1886, and 1896. As deposits of gold were uncovered in the 19th century, hundreds of thousands scrambled across continents and around the world to seek their fortune. Gold fever hit California in 1849, South Africa in 1886, and the Yukon and Klondike in Canada in 1896. In Australia, the population tripled within the decade following 1851, when gold was discovered in Ballarat and Bendigo in Victoria. Let's find all the gold rushes. We've got Alaska and Canada, California, South Africa, and Australia. Just like it said, that was very easy. Latin America, 1850 to 1953. We're jumping ahead here. From the 1850s onward, millions of Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian people made their way to South America, attracted by the offer of preferential treatment for Europeans. They headed primarily for the rapidly expanding urban economies of Brazil, Uruguay, and Argentina, which were rich with European capital and investment at that time. Brazil alone received 5 million immigrants between 1872 and 1953. Yeah, isn't the second most spoken language in Argentina Italian, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. That was all the boxes. Hold on. There's a special map here of Jewish migration, which you can see coming out of Eastern Europe heading to Russia. That was a bad idea. They zoomed all the way to China, it looked like, and then heading out to Palestine, which moving on, America, Mexico, down to Buenos Aires and Cape Town. But let's read all these little boxes. It says 1882, the U.S. passes the Chinese Exclusion Act, stopping labor immigration from China. That's in San Francisco, my hometown. Let's head down to South America. It says 1850 to 1880, tens of thousands of Chinese laborers come to work in Peru's guano, sugar, and cotton industries. Imagine coming all that way to work in the guano industry. Goodness. 1888, slavery is abolished in Brazil, triggering a large influx of immigrants. And that's another shocking one, right? 1888 was Brazil's abolishment of slavery. I think the last one was Cuba in like 1889, 1890. I could be wrong. It could have been Brazil, but I'm pretty sure Cuba was the last like major power to abolish slavery, but Brazil was right there. Pretty interesting, but sad. 1845 to 1854, 1.6 million Irish emigrate, mainly to the U.S. during the potato famine. 1850. So maybe I have Irish. I never tracked my Irish ancestry because it's all kind of lost. But surely they came during this time. They went, obviously, to America because here I am in America, but they wound up in Arkansas and they just stopped like doing the census and doing like birth certificates and death certificates. So there's a huge chunk of my history that's just missing because they just lived in the woods, just living their lives. But maybe they came during that time. 1850s, emigration from England and Scotland reaches its peak, 50,000 per year. 1900 to 1910. Let's move this up. More than 2 million Italians immigrate to the U.S. and Argentina. 1848 to 1849. Suppression following political revolutions in Central Europe prompts many liberals to emigrate. Emigrate where? I guess, as you can see, South America and the United States probably. 1860 to 1890, Indian migrants arrive in East Africa to work as merchants, laborers, and later as police officers, clerks, and accountants. Wow, I didn't know that. And here in Mauritius, 1834, indentured laborers from India replace slaves on the sugar plantations of Mauritius. Yeah, Mauritius has the largest Hindu population outside of India. The only Hindu majority country besides India, because so many people came from India during this time. 1880s to 1890s, land exhaustion and famine drive migrants from European Russia east and south into newly gained territories. You can see 6 million, it says, immigrated. And then way down here in 1840, the Treaty of Waitangi gained sovereignty over New Zealand to Britain. Around 40,000 British settlers arrive in the following decades. Yeah, so the world's not only connected, it's getting more diverse as populations spread around the globe, creating communities, right? It's hard to imagine the world today without a Chinatown in a major city, right? Or a little Italy or something like that in major cities. But that's all I have for you tonight. I think next, what's next? I think it was Empires is next, which is why I wanted to stop where I stopped. I think, yeah, Imperialism. So we'll get to that next time we do this book. So, thank you very much for watching. Not as chaotic as this book normally is. Let's look at this to bring some more chaos. Let's look at Pears Burning. Nothing more chaotic than Pears Burning. Look at this guy and his white horse. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and again, comment. Let me know where you're watching from, because it always surprises me where you guys are watching from countries I would never expect. Like, I don't know, like Latvia or something comes to mind. Let me know if you're in Latvia. Or like, let's say Singapore. Let me know if you're watching from Singapore. Sadly, no one's going to comment they're watching from China because YouTube is banned in China, but I don't know. It's not banned in Taiwan, is it? So if you're from Taiwan, let me know. I don't know if it is. Let me know. I don't think it is. But I'll shut up now. I'll stop yapping and let you guys go for the night. Thank you so much. I hope you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a good